Howdy folks, how you all doing? Hope you're all having a wonderful day, evening, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for tuning into my channel. I really appreciate that, and I hope you're enjoying my content. And if so, if you are enjoying it, can you please hit that like and subscribe button? Really helps the channel out a lot, and I'm really trying to grow the channel and get it out to more people, and I can only do that if you hit that like and subscribe, because it affects the algorithm, and it means that YouTube is then going to start pushing the video out a little bit further than it's actually being pushed at the moment. But anyway, without further ado, let's get on with today's gameplay. We're on Halluf in the T28 Prototype. This bad boy here, look at this. I like this tank. It's not my favourite tank, but I do like it. It's not the fastest tank in the West, is it? I mean, let's be honest about it. It's one of these tanks that when the game starts, you've got to make your decision where to go on the map. And I always try to use this tank as a support vehicle, predominantly where the main battles take place, and as in, like this one is up on the AB line. That's predominantly where the main heavy battles and that take place on this map. And so as a support vehicle, which is how I try to run it, yes, you can sit back in it and snipe, but I don't like doing that in this tank, because it's okay if you're trying to hold off a flank, you know, on something like Mountain Pass or something like that. Yeah, you could probably do it and get away with it most of the time. And it does see tier 10s, and if it does see tier 10s, then their rounds are just going to go through you like a knife through butter. So you're not impervious to every round to the front of the tank itself. But it is a decent tank in its own right. Marks out of 10 for this tank for me personally. I would probably give it a 6 out of 10. Just purely and simply because it's got a fairly decent cannon on it. It's not the fastest tank, and it's got fairly decent frontal armour, and it's got good gun depression. So yeah, overall it's a fairly decent tank if you get it into the right situation. But again, in that same caveat, if other tanks get around you, it's game over, because you're just not fast enough to do anything about it, really, in all fairness. But yeah, it's a decent tank. Would I recommend you getting this tank and trying it? Yeah, absolutely, why not? You know, he who dares wins, Rodders. You know, you never know, you might get this tank and think, God, this is a great tank, and you might get the tank and think, God, this is a waste of bloody time. I wish I'd never listened to that twat on YouTube. But it is a fairly good tank, so give it a shot. I don't think you go too far wrong with it. Once you learn the little nuances of the tank, and don't push out too far, and certainly don't try and go anywhere on your own, because you'll just be wiped out. And that's it in a nutshell. But it can hold its own, and yes, it can hold a flank, and as you can see, it reloads fairly quickly anyway. But yeah, nature of the beast, isn't it? If every tank was the same, then we'd soon get bored and we wouldn't spend any of our hard-earned cash on this game, would we? Eh? There's a little hint to you. Don't spend your cash on this game unless you absolutely want to or have to. That's my little tuppence worth anyway. But yes, so for this tank itself, I would say is it a keeper for me? Yeah, it is. I've had it quite some time. I've not played it that much. I got the first Mark of Excellence on it, but I'm not really interested in Marks of Excellence. That's not my main priority for this game. The main priority for me is just having a laugh and having fun with my mates, and I quite enjoy that. And if you see me out on the battlefield, then by all means say hi to me and don't shoot me. Do skills for you. Raise your gun up in the air and I won't shoot you back. I've probably just put a big target on my back now, haven't I? And the thing with the T28 Prototype, it's the offshoot of the T28 Super Heavy, on the tech tree line that leads you up to the T95 and then eventually the E3. But there's an interesting story about the T28 Super Heavy, which I didn't know this. I've done a little bit of digging on it, and I found it quite interesting. Not that I'm a nerd or anything, but the original T28 Super Heavy, which was designed to go and fight the Japanese, apparently, and it was designed for just as a breakthrough tank, but it never actually. Well, they made a prototype of the tank and called it the T28 Prototype Super Heavy. But the thing is this it went missing. This tank just completely went missing, and the US Army for some reason forgot all about it. And this thing was made in March 1944, and it went missing until 1974, where they then they then found it sat in a field basically in a load of reeds, and eventually they recovered it and sent it off to the tank museum. How do you lose a tank? A T28 super heavy tank? How do you lose that and misplace it? Me thinks they've got too much money and not enough people paying attention, perhaps. I don't know, but it just blew my mind. I chuckled at that when I thought, how can you lose a T28 super heavy tank and 27 years later it's found in a field in some reeds? But I thought, wow, okay, it was never ever used in battle or anything like that. But it was just the prototype. But they actually called the original one the T28 Prototype Super Heavy. There you go. You come to my channel and you think you're going to just hear some diatribe, bullshit, load of crap of somebody just wittering on about all manner of pish. And you come to my channel and there you go, you get educated. Is this fill across? Is this a bit that you talked about where you do a bit of filler? Yes it is. Yes it is. Whatever. Anyway, all I'm saying to you is it's a fairly decent tank, and I was surprised at how they could lose a tank or misplace it and not find it for 27 years. But there you go. What can I say? But we're coming to the end of the game now. As I say, give this tank a bit of a bash. Give it a bit of a tickle out on the battlefield, and I think you'll be quite impressed with it. You won't always have great games in it, I can assure you of that, but when you do play it properly, you do generally tend to have fairly decent shots and do a fair amount of damage. So other than that, I would recommend this tank and give it a try. And you might already have it in your garage, and if you do, what do you think of it? Leave it in the comments below, because I'd be interested in reading that. But anyway, last guy, he's about to die, so we'll get onto the end plates and see how we did. So we've done just over 3,000 damage, which again isn't too bad a game really, is it? In a tier 8 tank destroyer. Alright, I know some great players out there, but it's not too shabby for me. Made 45,000 credits, yeah, came second from the top. So overall, not a bad game really, to be quite honest. Alright, we did lose a few credits, but hey ho, there you go. Catch you all in the next one, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Take care. Bye bye.